Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today's deck profile for you, we're going over Beelstar, something we haven't seen in a little bit. I've actually been having a ton of fun playing this deck for a few weeks now. Actually, I've been pretty much playing it as my only deck. I was prepping for the last of the, what was it, EX3, EX4, I've already forgotten, format, and for the regional, ended up playing a mill version of the deck, which I'll show you briefly after this, but today we're going to go with the draw trash engine, as I found it to be a little bit more powerful because of the control element of knowing exactly what cards you want to go into trash. Was just a little bit more safe. Whereas the other, the mill version was incredibly powerful, but incredibly luck-based. I mean, we're talking crazy luck-based on those mills. I could mill 10 to 15 cards in a single turn and not hit hardly any options, and that would always feel super bad, whereas the draw trash felt a little bit more controlled for what I would prefer. Also, this month's memory marker here is Kapurimon, so if you're interested, this is our working copy here, just day one of what we have so far. If you're definitely interested in Kapurimon, check back at a later video and see how we've improved this. Like I said, this is just our first sample of what it's going to look like. Kapurimon, again, is our memory marker of the month for featured. It will be our Patreon reward. You can find this in our Etsy page as well, link in the description below. Also, there you can find all of our previous memory markers that we featured on the channel as well. All of them are handmade out of clay by my wife, hand painted faces as well, all by Digimon. Very, very cool, very, very cute Digitama eggs. Check out cardtrader.com just for signing up using the link in the description below. Using my referral, you get a free $2 to spend on whatever you want. Also, they have a really cool shipment thing where every card you buy, that all of it goes to the warehouse at once, and then you pay for a single shipping cost to you, so you cut down on all those bulk orders that you put in. You only have to pay a single shipping cost, so it's super cool, very, very efficient a way that Card Trader works. So yeah, go check them out. Very, very cool website. All right, so I just want to start off with, this was my build that I ended up taking to the regional. It was a lot of fun, but I found that the blind mills, like, while we did have an insane amount of power, we could fill up our trash faster than any belief, it was too random, and I just kept having the issues of milling the wrong things and that sort of thing. So that's why I ended up ultimately not going forward with this build for the video here. While I do think it's super interesting in the darkness waves, like one after another. I mean, literally there would be times where I would dump 10, 15 cards in my trash in a single turn. They didn't always end up being the best choices, whereas if I had draw discard, I could have had half the cards in trash, but more valuable cards in trash in doing so, as well as having more valuable cards in my hand. So while this is a very cool, very fun build, this is not going to be the build that I'm going to present to you guys today. Ended up steering clear of this in favor of today's deck profile. All right, so a lot of this stuff is going to seem pretty standard fare across the board. You notice at the bottom we do have some extra cards. These are more talking points, as well as, you know, just kind of cards you could throw in if you so choose, or just, you know, changing out and so on. So a lot of this beginning stuff is going to be pretty standard fare. We've got the Digimon, the draw one, trash one on deletion. Combine that with our on deletion Gabumon, draw two, trash one. Pretty much that's the name of the game with Beelstar. This isn't anything new. This has been a pretty set in stone strategy for over a year now. The control is what's important there. Getting the cards in hand, discarding certain cards rather than just get as many cards in trash as possible. We want a little bit more control over certain things, as well as saving certain things. We'll get more into that in a little bit, but cards like Rivals Barrage specifically that really like to be milled, if you keep drawing cards, you might want to hold on to a Rivals Barrage, because we got Iron Mako teched in, and we can set that up for a great mill target. So I like the control element here. So we also have the when attacking, draw one, trash one, inheritable Gabumon from the starter deck 6. All of these, both of these Gabumons and the Digimon, of course, are our staple cards that go underneath our Eismon Scatter mode of the On Deletion, Draw 3, Trash 2. Even at a 4 play cost, this card is great. 4,000 DP. You know, pretty respectable. You can actually use it to clear certain things on the field, crash, or swing over in worst case scenarios. But still low enough DP that it dies to pretty much everything in security when you need it to, but often survives, unfortunately, when you don't need it to. But yeah, so that is, of course, the main way that we cycle through our deck, is to use either Gabumon on the Digimon with our Scatter mode. All right, now for some of the text in the last of our rookie slots here, I am running Psychmon. I know people go like hoot and holler every time they see a Psychmon in a BL Star. Remember, we have level 4s. We can Digivolve on top of this guy when we need to get him off the field. We can crash him into security when we need to get him off the field, when we're actually ready to start playing our Beelstarmons. Now, you don't always just jump the gun from turn 1 with a Beelstar, right? You need to get, 3-4 turns into the game before you're starting to lay some Beelstarmons out. Psychmon's going to be a great card that's just going to help you in a lot of matchups. Matchups like Blue Flare that this deck can really struggle against if they're stunning too much of your stuff. If you're hard playing, scatter modes and such, and they're stunning it before they can even attack, they can be very frustrating. So having some Psychmons for that, as well, of course, for the Royal Knights matchup, you stick a Psychmon or two. Golly, you stick 2 Psychmons against Royal Knights. They absolutely crumble beneath your boot, okay? They run stuff, like the Marcus that can clear a Psychmon, but you know what? Marcus is 5 play cost. They typically only run 2. So the chances of them seeing a second one in a single game is pretty slim. So that gives you lots of time to work through stuff. So yes, Psychmon is just like literally the Achilles heel of that deck. Psychmon, Solarmon, all those kind. So yeah, we're running 3 of it. I don't care that this is Beelstarmon. I control Psychmon on my own terms, and he goes out on my own terms. All right, moving on from there, we've got Guilmon here, which is a happy new addition in several decks I've been playing here lately. EX4 Guilmon here on play. If the total number of cards in both players' trash is 20, so you combine both trashes together, that counts, and if it's 20 or more, this Digimon gains Rush. So very, very powerful card. Just a 3 play cost, easy to get on the field out of nowhere that your opponent just does not expect, and get an extra check in on those turns where you might not have the the other plays to do certain things. You've got some reactive option cards in your hand, and your opponent just doesn't have anything to deal with. Go ahead and slap down a Guilmon and rush in there, getting a free check out of nowhere. And then, you can always recycle him back later if you so choose or so need. So yeah, big fan of Guilmon, working him into a lot of decks. Scatter mode we went over already. Dobermon is very similar to Scatter mode. He's got another On Deletion here, but this one's going to be Trash 3, so it is going to be a blind mill. But then you can add any purple Digimon or Tamer card from trash to hand, which this is a great target for getting your Beelstarmons out of trash. Yes, we have a couple other things that do it as well, but I think Dobermon is that one that, you can just keep using it. You'll keep seeing more and more. He can actually add himself off of it because the mill happens first and then he comes to hand, whereas certain other interactions such as like Calling from Darkness, if you delete one of your Digimon and you return 2 purple Digimon cards from your trash to hand, if you add the cards to hand before you trigger their On Deletion effects, you don't actually get them. If they're not in trash anymore, you don't get those On Deletion effects, whereas Dobermon, the way his works out is you do. So you just use his effect last. Very, very powerful card here. Great for cycling back our BL stars. If they get hit in security or whatever, they get hit off a blind mill, we can add them back. So Dobermon is a must-have. People that don't run Dobermon and Beelstar just absolutely blow my mind. I don't understand it. And then we just kind of rounding out our level 4s with some generic useful stuff here. We've got a blocker level 4, which is, pretty standard fare. We used to run the Vilemon. Hey, but now we got one that's on play, trash 2 cards of our deck. So again, more blind mills, but we have, really nice things that can set up good blind mills, as well as we don't mind getting more cards in trash. And then, of course, we've got the 2 Genkakumon promotes. level 4 with Rush. It's really all there is to it. Everything else in here doesn't matter. If you run this other stuff, you can run it. I just always felt like it was a brick, and it was just a useless space in the card that I could have been running something else. So that's why I chose not to run those. So just the level 4 with Rush. It's a fantastic card to hit off of the Nailbone. So I do run 2 of those in here. I absolutely want to see 1 in trash as soon as possible, so I know it's in there. I'm ready to go. But even having a second 1 in trash does come up. I'll go Nailbone and then swing with Promote. He doesn't die, and I'm like, crap, I needed to go Nailbone a second time to guarantee, to go for game there, and then I just don't have a second. But having the second one there is really, really strong. Also, even if you have 1 in hand, you go Nailbone, bring back a Promote, and then a Rookie. 2 Evo costs on top of that Rookie. Now that Rookie swinging with Rush as well. Of course, we got the Beelstarmons. If you're here, you should know what this card does. I'm not even going to go over it. We're going to skip past it. We've also got Death X in here. This is just a fantastic card for lots of different matchups. Any Tamer-based deck is really solid. Hunters is always just kind of in the mix. It's doing decently well, so Death X is really strong against that. Any sort of cross deck, always Death X just really frustrates those players. Less and less of this being used, which is kind of crazy to me. I don't mind it in here because, this is a control deck at its core. So we're going to, of course, run some Death X, which was one of the best Digimon in the game for controlling the opponent's board. So yeah, really, really fantastic stuff. Even playing into like Shine Greymon, where if they get a couple, 2-3 Tamers on field, and a Digimon, then Death X out of nowhere really, really frustrates them because they have a difficult time clearing it. 15k body is a lot, even for that deck. And speaking of Shine Greymon, we're running Ruin Mode in here. One of those just techs. I've been talking about Ruin Mode a lot lately, but I didn't want to give it away. My testing partner, Hugo Souls, threw this at me, and I was like, that's a fantastic idea. Beelstar has always been one of those, like, once you stick the body, the Mega, and it's used its effects, the Mega just kind of sits there. Yeah, you can keep swinging with an 11k, not too bad. But if you ever can find those level 7s that really just synergize really nicely, Death X was not bad, 6 Evo cost, but now Ruin Mode, 5 Evo cost. However, when Digivolving and on deletion until the end of your opponent's turn, all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 5,000 DP. So Evo this to pass turn, 5k blanket on your opponent's whole field. They can't promote up a lot of things, like pretty much all level 4 and lowers are stuck in raising area, because as soon as they promote them up, they die. If they hard play anything that's 5,000 DP or less, it dies, which includes searchers. If you're not aware of that interaction, if your opponent plays a rookie, like a rookie searcher, the negative 5,000 DP instantly hits it and it dies before the search goes off. That is an official ruling. You can find it on all the FAQs, everything out there. If you want to fight me, go look it up because it's already out there. It's in the FAQs. It dies before the search goes off. So that's really, really awesome as well. And then it also prevents basically Marcuses from coming out. Marcuses are pretty much stuck as tamers for the turn that this 5k is on the field. So then the opponent passes back to you. Then you use then you swing with Ruin Mode here. End of attack, delete this Digimon and one of your opponent's Digimon, and recovery +1. How awesome is that? So recover, which in a Beelstar deck is great because got a lot of kill options. That's awesome. Delete this Digimon, so now your Beelstar is in trash, so you can cycle them back through all the different ways we've already talked about. You're also deleting the opponent's Digimon, so we got some control element there, and you're reapplying a second time that minus 5,000 DP. So that same issue your opponent had, they have to deal with for a second turn in a row. So I'm a huge fan of that. And hatch 1 Digi-Egg card to empty space in your breeding area. So nice little just cherry on top there at the end to set up for next turn big plays there. So Ruin Mode, I think, is a fantastic addition to this deck. Really, really strong. I literally ended up picking up an alt art just to throw into this deck because I was like, I don't want to pay that price tag for an alt art. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think we're going to do it because I'm really enjoying Beelstar, and this was a fantastic addition. Next, we got our 7-cost option package here. We've got 4 fly bullets to delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. Pretty standard fare stuff there. But for those instances where we can't, where it's they stick a level 7, you can delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level with Rival's Barrage. Also has a great delay effect, so if it gets milled from the deck, it goes into delay. Return 1 purple Digimon card or Tamer card from your trash to your hand. Another great way to cycle our Beelstars out of trash is with Rival's Barrage. We don't have a ton of mills in this deck, but we do have a decent amount, so you do have, you know, decent odds of hitting this, as well as we can set it up using the Iron Mako, you know, Evo into Doberman, and then swing with the Doberman. Doberman dies. We instantly get that guaranteed 3 mills. So we set it up the Iron Mako so we can, you know, get some really good targets going there. So big fan of that little trio of interactions, which is really cool. And even if the Doberman doesn't die, you can do a couple different things. You can Calling from Darkness to kill it, or you can play a Mist Memory Boost to pass turn, and you'll still get that mill. So very, very flexible card. A big fan of this. 7 play cost, very solid. We got the 2 nail bones in here. I think 2 is fine. You really only need nail bone when it's time to win the game. And so at that point, you've got, you know, your 12, you know, 10 plus option cards in trash for your Beelstars to get super cheap, and that's when Nailbone is like really going to see the most play, is at that point in the game. You're not going to really use Nailbone like early game at all. So at 2 of, I'm guaranteed it's going to be in the trash by the time I need it. So I'm really, really solid with that. Like in theory, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a great card. It's almost like the win condition, like 3 of. But it's only useful by the time you have a ton in trash, so 2 of is fine. Gwalt Swarmer here, I think, is a great card. I'm a big fan of it. Delete all your opponent, or delete all Digimon, including your own, with play cost 7 or less. Just a really solid card here for a lot of different matchups. Always been a solid card. A really big fan of it against Bloom, so things like that. I 2 of for me. I did end up throwing in the Happy Bullet Showering here. I wasn't running it originally, and I think I missed one. I wanted one more option, just one more 7-cost option to really fill us out. We were at 12, but might as well put us at that 13. Just felt good. Lucky number 13 in a demon deck. I don't know, something about it. So I went ahead and added the Happy Bullet Showering back in. Delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. And for those not familiar, the black and red options here, as long as we have a 3 Musketeers in play, we can play these. So Beelstar, of course, is 3 Musketeers, so that's great. Delete all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. So if there's only 1 Digimon at a certain DP threshold, of course, it only clears that 1. But that moment the opponent plays into having a field full of stuff, again, just an example, something like Bloom that has a lot of 3000 DP Digimon that they like to play out for free, and they just leave them all sitting on field. Happy Bullet Showering in those situations to wipe a big field of stuff. Very, very strong. But I've also had this card come up where my opponent just like has 2 megas out there, 2 identical megas with the same DP, and I'm like, Happy Bullet Showering, kill both your megas. Yeah, strong interactions there, because it specifically says delete all, okay, as opposed to like Rival's Barrage is delete 1 of your opponents with the highest level. So it's specific that you, even if there's like multiples of the same level, you basically have to pick one. Calling from Darkness here, we've already talked about a few times. So 1 play cost, delete 1 of your Digimon, then return up to 2 purple Digimon cards from your trash to your hand. This card's limited to 1, so we can't run more than it, but really, really strong card. Of course, we're going to run it again. Beelstar can end up in trash through security or blind mills. This is one of your best cards in the game to get it back. Same for a lot of this stuff. If it gets hit in security, or your opponent deletes it and you need to get you need to get it back on field, great card. In the regional, I ended up using Calling from Darkness to pop my own Death X, grabbed it out of trash off the same calling, and played it immediately again. Against a, I think it was a cross deck, or it might have been Hunters, but one of those, and then it was just like completely threw my opponent off. One of the best combos I think I've done in a long time, that I just like found the line. It took me a bit to figure it out. I was about to, I think I was about to hard drop a Beelstar for like 10 to play a Gwaltschwarmer, and then I was like, wait, I can delete my Death X and grab it back with this calling and then play it again and then just wipe my opponent's whole field, and it was very, very cool. Next, we got the Miss Memory Boost. We already kind of talked about a little bit. Trash 2 from the top of your deck, so 2 Blind Mills, and then a draw 1, and then we delay gain 2 memory. You'll notice we're not running a memory fixer in this build. I was running the mat in the other one with the Blind Mills because I like to on-play grab something out of trash that I didn't want to get milled, so it made a lot of sense in that deck. But for this one, I'm fine with just the Miss Memory Boost, just for those really like clutch, powerful turns mid to late game where I'm like, okay, this is the turn where I just win. So, you know, Beelstar into Nailbone twice, and boom, that's game. A couple different things, or Gilmon out of nowhere, surprise the opponent, stuff like that. So, I like the Miss Memory Boost. I kind of wish I could run more of it, but at the same time, there's just not really any space. I think I ended up cutting one in favor of the Happy Bullet Showering, just because I wanted that 13th option. Next, we've got the Iron Mako here, just rounding out the end of the list here. On play, reveal 4. Add 1 Digimon card of Evil, Wizard, or Demon Lord trait among them to your hand. Place the rest of the bottom of your deck in order. Not a whole lot of targets for this in this deck, but specifically this next part, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a purple Digimon, by suspending this tamer, return 1 card from your hand on top of your deck and gain 1 memory. That's just really strong. Just be able to use this tamer to basically reduce your Evo cost by 1, so all of your level 4s are now 1 Evos. So even if your opponent chokes you at 1, you can still go into a level 4 and not pass turn, which like literally came up a lot in my in the regional build that I ran with the mills. I would just, you know, Evo for 2 and pass turn again. Like, dang it, that feels like such a waste. So Iron Mako kind of helps prevent that, as well as, like I said, it does set up for some good interactions with stuff like Rivals Barrage that really enjoys being milled, as well as it just kind of slows down the deck out process. This deck can turbo a little too fast at times, so slowing it down in certain matchups is a good idea. So Iron Mako can help facilitate that as well. And that is it for the core of the deck. Now, a couple talking points that I do have is, if you want a 5th egg or just an alternative one, if so be it, Kapurimon, our memory marker of the month here, out of BT13, I thought was a really, really interesting Digitama here. On deletion, by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete 1 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. It helps us with that hand cycling. Like, we should have plenty of that. The drawing and the discarding should get us there, but just 1 extra card here, a 5th egg, you know, just an alternative here to replace the Demimera on that 5th egg. And then we get a pop, you know, a rookie pop. Not too bad. I thought it was a pretty interesting one, if you so choose on needing that 5th egg. There's also the on deletion Yaomon that mills 2. That's also an alternative. Just food for thought. Next, we got the Fascomon from BT13, which I really debated putting in here. On deletion, draw 1, trash 1. So we can just go this right on top of the Demimeramon. We don't need any level 4s. We just make it work with Fascomon here. So draw 1, trash 1, draw 1, trash 1 again for Demimera. Not too bad there. A nice little, you know, watered down version of our bigger plays that we can do. And then end of opponent's turn, once per turn, draw 1, then trash 1. Inheritable. You know where this really comes up? When you swing in with your jamming Eismon scatter mode, and it just doesn't die to security, and then your opponent just doesn't want to swing over it during their turn because they don't want to trigger it for you also. Fascomon Inheritable actually comes up in those situations, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've played enough Eismon scatter mode, you know about that jamming. It's insane. Next, we got the BT6 Impmon here. This actually was for the original Beelstar deck. That on play, you may trash 1 card in your hand. If you do, return 1 Digimon card of 7 Great Demon Lords or 3 Musketeers in its type from your trash to your hand. Just a potential, like maybe a one of. I did have it as a one of in my mill deck, where I needed to grab the Beelstar's back. With the control of this one, I didn't really feel like it was necessary in this build, but I did still want to at least mention it just as an alternative choice if you really have an issue of needing to add your Beelstars back to hand and the deck just isn't giving you enough between the callings and the Dobermons and such. If you still need more, then this Impmon here is a good choice for you. And the last one, I did just add this in like spur of the moment right before I hit record. BT13 Gallantmon Secret Rare. It's random, I know. When you would play this card from the hand, if you have no Digimon, reduce the play cost by 2 for every 5 total cards in both players' trashes. So again, we're playing Beelstar. It's not unheard of to have 20-25 cards in trash, and our opponent probably has about 10 to 15 themselves. You know, that's 35-40 cards, and then for every 5, that's 8 in total here of times we're triggering this. We're reducing this by 2 for each of those, so that's a minus 16 play cost. Yeah, I know the math was a little weird on that, but yeah, we got there. So basically, this guy's free. So in a Beelstar, we can get that trash up real big, real fast. So free play cost Mega with Rush. All right, 13,000 DP. I'm already feeling it, right? Just like an extra body with Rush that I can swing in there. Cool, I don't mind it. But it doesn't even stop there. On play, when Digivolving and when attacking, not once per turn, mind you. So I can on play, rush, swing, and trigger it again with the when attacking. So I can trigger this ability twice in one turn. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. Okay, a little bit of a body clear. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, delete one of your opponents with 13,000 DP or more. Fantastic card here. A lot of cards in general in the format here have a decent body to them. Gallantmon and just not mirror match, but in matches where Gallantmon's played, the Death X's, the Ruin modes, lots of different things here. This Gallantmon is a great way to handle that, and just as an easy tech in. Like I said, you don't have to run it, but I thought he was a cool card just to mention in a strategy. Basically, any deck that likes to fill its trash, this becomes a viable strategy. Like Millith, the Lilith loop with the mill engines, like this is a neat little tech that you can tech into that as well. Any deck that works pretty well. I mean, you could literally even tech this into Beelzamon if you wanted to, just because it can, play itself for free. Now, the issue with Beelstarmon is, again, the blind mills. You can mill this, and then it's just basically stuck in trash, and then you're like, well, now what? But yeah, in theory, you could run it in that one as well. I just thought it was a really, really cool card. I wanted to talk about it, just throw it in there as a talking point in a deck that has a big trash build-up sort of play style, because I feel like it's actually a surprisingly generic, useful card that's I found pretty interesting. But that will do it for the deck here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or anything like that, please put it in the comment section below. If you made it this far and you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. If you sit here and listen to me talk for 30 minutes and you're not already a subscriber, I don't know what you're thinking. You're definitely enjoy the channel enough to sit here this long, so please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Getting us closer to that 5,000 threshold. I'm ready to do a big giveaway for that. See what all we can throw at you guys. How much free swag I can give you. I think it'll be a lot of fun.